Hey mamas, and welcome back to WorkinMama. Today I have a comparison video for you of two popular breast pump models, both made by Spectra Baby. The first one is what I actually got for my first pregnancy, which is the Spectra S1, this kind of giant pump. It's a hospital grade pump. I really liked using it. Used it for my first baby 2 years ago when he was born, as well as I'm using it now again for my second baby. But with my insurance benefit this time, I elected to get this little guy, which is the Spectra 9Plus. And it is worth mentioning that there is another Spectra model. I think there are more than what I have here, but there's also one that looks nearly identical to this. The only difference is that the trim, instead of it being blue, is actually pink. And my understanding is that one is the exact same pump as this one, but it is required to be plugged in order to use it. Whereas this has battery charge capability, so it can be portable. So I would often, kind of part of my routine with baby number one when I went back to work was to actually have this in my pump bag, open in the side pocket, which I did a packing video to show you how this packs in here really nicely. This is called the Jujube Be Supplied. It worked really well to just have the pump hanging in the bag and then me hooked up to it in the car driving to work. And I pretty much did that every day for several months, driving to and from work. That's when I got my pumps in, and sometimes even going between different meeting locations and stuff like that too. So obviously you've got a huge size difference here, and I tried to find content when I was doing a little bit of research to figure out which pump should I get for my insurance benefit this time around. And I couldn't find anything that really compared these two. So I wanted to do that for you guys. Like I said, I think you can pretty much interchange this with the S2, which is the pink colored one that requires plug-in. But after having used these for a couple months now, because I'm pretty much exclusively pumping with this, with my second baby, Quinn. He was a NICU baby, and so he started off being bottle fed right away with my pumped breast milk. And we really haven't made a ton of progress in getting him back to breast, which I am trying. We do a session at least once a day. And we're getting there, but we're not there yet. So I'm still pretty much exclusively pumping and bottle feeding him. In some ways it's nice. I probably should do a whole video just about my experience with exclusive pumping, but in a way I like it because you know exactly how much the baby's taking. And it really can involve everyone in the family. But anyway, since I am exclusively pumping, I have been using both of my pumps the entire time since Quinn has been born. Like I mentioned, this one is hospital grade. This one is not. And the key differences here you can actually see when you're looking right at them is look at all of the different buttons that you have. So this one has 7 buttons on it. This one has 4. And the 4 that are on here are also on here. There's a simple on-off button. There is the massage button, that's what it's labeled as. And what that does is switches between the 2 presets. So there is kind of the, I think it's called like letdown mode. Basically when a baby is suckling, they start off doing it very rapidly to really just try to get the milk going. And then once the milk is going, that's what's called the letdown. Then they slow down quite a bit and they suckle harder. So it's a bigger suction, but they're doing it less frequently. And that's when they're really drawing in all of those big gulps of milk. And so that button, you start off with kind of the more frequent and a little lower on the suction level, and then switch after usually between 1 and up to 3 minutes is how long it'll take. And that at that point you would switch to the, again, slower, more powerful mode of pumping, and that's really when the milk is coming out. So we've got that 2 mode piece here. Same thing on this one, that same button. It's got the little waves on there. And then the difference really is that you've got your vacuum level here. And so that, I think it's between 1 and 10. And so those are your options. There is a great resource called Legendary Milk. They have an Instagram, and I think they also now have a Facebook account. And they have like a little cheat sheet with what you might want to start with for your Spectra pump settings to get a really good handle on what might work for you. Basically, it's somewhere to start, and then you can adjust from there. I honestly don't remember what they're set at when you turn it on for the first time. I would guess it's probably on the lower side, so that you're not completely overwhelmed when you start. So this has the vacuum on there too, the plus and minus, so obviously up and down for the vacuum level. And then the thing that is, well, there's a couple things that are different. One is that this is a light button, and I actually am using this all the time. Every night since we're doing the exclusive pumping, basically what we do in the middle of the night is baby starts stirring, my husband gets up and gets him, changes him, and then starts bottle feeding him. And at the same time that he's bottle feeding him, I'm pumping. So that's kind of what our routine has been for the past 7 weeks since baby's been born. And then the other difference here is this cycle. So this is only on the S1, and there is no cycle on here. So you're stuck with what you get here. And so what that is the frequency that I mentioned. So on this one, there are the 2 modes. Like I said, kind of that initial fast, and then there's the slow. And you can't control how fast and how slow, basically how many like suckles per minute or whatever. Whereas this one, you can. Okay, so I want to wrap this up because I've got a little waken boy here. This one is definitely more portable. Obviously, it takes up so much less space. Like, it's amazing to me that this does the same thing as this, right? But it kind of doesn't do the same thing. And it's, to be honest, it's not as good. It is not as powerful. And one of the big differences that I see is that when this is plugged into the wall, so if I have it plugged in, the suction is more powerful. It's crazy. Like, I actually have had it where I've been sitting on the couch, like watching TV, and I'm pumping, and I see that the battery's kind of getting low, so I asked my husband to plug it in for me, and he plugged it into the wall, and I'm like, whoa! All of a sudden, it's like a crazy amount of suction difference. So it is not as powerful. You kind of get what you pay for. You know, the amount of space that these 2 things take up is not in vain. It's a clear difference for a reason. So anyway, I just wanted to share that if I were to choose between these 2 and money was not a question, I would definitely get this one. If you're only gonna have 1 pump, this is the one. It is great. I love it. I've used it for multiple years, as I've mentioned. Love it. Cannot complain. But the other thing to note is that this one I had to pay extra above and beyond what my insurance covered. It was a sizable amount. I want to say it was over $100 extra that I had to pay for this one. At the time, my options with my insurance were this one or the pink model that I mentioned. The pink one was free. So if you are, you know, okay with being tethered to a wall and plugged in and not wanting to pump while you're driving to and from work and things like that, then that would probably be fine for you. But if you want that portability, this is the way to go, but it's gonna cost more. I think you can buy this on Amazon right now by itself for just like $200, which is, to be honest, it's a lot of money, but it's a good value in my opinion. This one was completely free with my insurance. It was included. So wanted to provide that comparison for you. I hope this video wasn't too long. If you liked this and thought it was helpful, I'd appreciate you giving it a like. Consider subscribing if you're interested in this kind of content, as well as reviews of other mama and baby gear and kind of general advice and mama stuff. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.